Hello, friends. Today's episode is brought to you by From Within Records. If you're not listening to the From Within Records podcast, I highly suggest you head over to Spotify and click subscribe. They just dropped episode 46, the Rebirth Showcase review. I really enjoy what they're doing over there with that podcast. So please go tune in and enjoy the show. If you're not following From Within Records on Instagram, please boot up your Instagram, click that follow button, and stay up to date on all the current news. And like I always say, please support From Within Records because they support us. If you're looking for high quality merch for your band or for your business, please hit up my friends over at Good Fortune Printing out of Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. You can follow them on Instagram at Good Fortune Printing. If you want to get in contact with them, please email them contact@goodfortuneprinting.com. You can thank me later. Before we get into today's guests, I sold my vlogging camera, it was like my B cam. Obviously, I'm using my main camera right now. Shout out to my Sony. But I sold my Canon G7X Mark III. I love that camera so much because all of my favorite vloggers from the golden age of YouTube use that camera. You know, your Fousey Tube, Rice Gum, FaZe Banks. They all use that camera. They inspired me to get that camera. And I honestly loved that camera so much. I bought it twice because the first one that I had, I lost at a rave. And I say I lost, but long story short, it ended up in the dark depths of this porta potty and I was not going to reach in there and grab it. So unfortunately, that was a real big bummer, but I really enjoy that camera. So I ended up buying it again and it served me well. Was able to take so many cool photos, do cool vlogs. But Canon just announced kind of the predecessor to the G7X Mark III. It's not out yet. It's actually going to come out in a couple days. It's the Canon PowerShot V1, and I watched a ton of reviews on it, and it's literally right up my alley. Something a little more modern, has a built-in hot shoe, so I bought it. So that should be coming in next week, and I cannot wait to be able to vlog on that. Excuse me. But I'm very excited to vlog on that. It's going to be a fun new toy. So I'm going to add that to my arsenal. So I'm down to 2 cameras. I still have the Insta360 Ace Pro 2. Like I said, I got the Sony here. But I sold my G7X for really cheap. Whenever I sell things online, I just undercut the market just to sell it really fast. And I sold it to this guy. He drove out from Culver City. He was a trooper because he hit me up like same day that I made the post. He hit me up and was like, yo, like I'm very interested in buying the camera. So we met up and chatted him up for a bit. It's always awkward meeting random people offline, especially when you're selling things. I was able to just kind of pick his brain and ask him what he was going to do with the camera. And he actually told me that it was a present for his girlfriend. And he was just expressing to me how hard it was to find that camera in like good condition, because I'm pretty sure they stopped production on that camera because that camera came out years ago. It's like considered vintage at this point. But like I said, I undercut the market just because I wanted to sell it fast. And I'm not trying to make a ton of money because like I said, I have a new camera on the way, and I just kind of wanted to, hopefully get it at the hands of somebody who would like really appreciate it. But yeah, he was telling me that it was a present for his girlfriend, and he was just very happy to find one in like really good condition because I literally bought it like just like a couple months ago, and I took very good care of it. And kept the box, had a bunch of cool accessories, and everything worked like fine. And he was just very happy to get it at a very fair price, and he was happy to be able to finally check that box for that present for his girlfriend. And I'm happy that I was going to somebody who's been wanting that camera for a really long time, because I know how much that camera meant to me. So hopefully she enjoys it. Shout out to whoever is going to use that. But new camera on the way. Like I said, I cannot wait to vlog with that. This weekend, tomorrow, going to Mexico. Not for hardcore, surprisingly. I'm going to Mexico. I don't know if I should say why, but I will tell you. Excuse me. I will tell you, I'm going to Mexico to hang out with Jesus, this sickness. My body knows I'm going to Louisville soon, so it's trying to get sick and ruin my trip again. But I'm going to Mexico with Jeff feet first. That's all I can say. But it should be fun. There will be a vlog. Will Jeff come out in it? I have no idea. It's up to him. But Mexico vlog coming soon. And speaking of vlogs, I just uploaded my vlog from WonderCon. Please go check that out on the YouTube page. It was fun. I will go back next year if I'm in town, because I don't know if I'll be in California when WonderCon is back in town. But I enjoyed my time there. I had a lot of fun. I'm happy I got to take a lot of cool pictures with everybody dressed up as Matt Murdock and Daredevil. Great time. But on today's episode, we had to track down our good friend, Christopher Torres, sings for a band called Jackknife, coming out of Linwood, California. If you were around in the early 2000s, you knew what Linwood was. And I remember this very specific time where, like it or not, Dynasty and Mortar Pride were like the fucking coolest things in Southern California. And to this day, Mortar Pride is like seriously one of the sickest bands to ever do it. And I was so honored to be able to have done my first sit down interview on camera with Richie from Mortar Pride. Shit was so sick. He was so nice, and I'll always support that band. So to be able to sit down with Chris, this is like the newer generation of Linwood hardcore. It was a real treat for me. You know, they dropped a new single back at the end of January titled Ghetto Stomp. If you're not tapped in with Jackknife, please, I highly suggest you hit pause, go boot up your Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Bandcamp, whatever. Go search out Jackknife, listen to the latest single, Ghetto Stomp, go back, listen to Ghetto Takeover. It's just so cool to hear, people singing about some real shit, especially things that I can relate with, especially since it's so close to home. I'm such a fan of their style. Like, I swear they have that same swagger that Mortar Pride has. And it's all because I assume it's because they all come from the same place. Shout out Linwood, California. But I love Jackknife. I hope all of you love them as much as I do. They're doing a lot of cool stuff upcoming this year. And yeah, I hope more bands come out of Linwood because of, we got Mortar Pride, we got Jackknife. Hopefully this trend can continue. More cool shit from that city. It's fucking awesome. So I'm always down to support the Linwood crew. I love Jackknife. So please strap in, enjoy this conversation. Without further ado, welcome Christopher Torres to the show. 1, 2, 3. And we're recording. Welcome to the podcast. Christopher, how's it going?
What's up, man? It's going good. It's Friday, happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Thank you for taking the time to do the podcast. I appreciate you being down.
For sure, man. It's a pleasure.
So you play in a band called Jackknife, which I'm a fan of. I'm very curious about the history of the band, because if I'm being honest, the first time you guys were put on my radar was had to have been over a year ago at this point. I did an interview with the singer of Mortar Pride, and I'm just being a fan of Mortar Pride, put me onto just your city of Linwood, because I didn't even know Linwood existed until I discovered Mortar Pride. And in that podcast, I was just asking about newer bands from Linwood, and Jackknife was a band that he mentioned. So from that moment on, I was like, all right, cool. I'm curious to tap in and see what the current state of Linwood hardcore has.
Yeah, man, for sure. I actually watched that podcast too, and man, hey, first of all, shout out to Richie, man. Shout out to Richie and Mortar Pride. But Richie pissed me off because he was in that damn he was in the podcast and he gave out the key the key code to get into our lockout.
Okay.
He said the number, and I was like, God damn, Richie. And we were just laughing about it though. But yeah, man, Linwood hardcore. I mean, honestly, like growing up, so I was in high school when Mortar Pride was going on, and I went to a couple of shows. Um, but that's the band that started it all for Linwood, in terms of hardcore and hardcore punk. They're the ones who put the city on the map, like you said. No one really knew where Linwood was or that it even existed. So shout out to Mortar Pride. So the way Jackknife started was literally just some friends from specifically me and Moses, who were from Linwood. And we told each other it was COVID time, and we told each other, you know what, let's start a hardcore punk project. We kind of just took it from like Mortar Pride in terms of like we're gonna rep our city, just like they did. It's been a long time that anyone has repped Linwood, and with our little own twist and take. So that's how it started. It started as a COVID project. We got some ideas on the table, we jammed it out. We initially just recorded for us. Like it wasn't for us to like play shows or create a band or nothing like that at all. It was just like, yo, we missed this shit. We've written music before. Let's get to it. So yeah, we put out a demo. We got our boy Andres Achi on drums, also from Linwood. And then eventually we got our first bass player, which is our old homie Enrique, who's also from Linwood. So it started off as a full on all Linwood band, Linwood hardcore. But that's how it happened, man. Right when COVID hit, we had a lot of time in our hands, and we started that project.
I think it's awesome. And I'm surprised more bands haven't popped up because Mortal has been around for a while at this point.
Yeah.
But I feel like when I listened to your guys' music, I was like, oh, this is like, because Mortal Pride, had like the certain swag and I felt like very specific sound. And then when I listened to Jackknife, I'm like, wow, somehow they managed to kind of like create like continue like the legacy of like this specific like Linwood sound.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we got that. My cat. We got that from a couple of people, and you know what it is, man. It's just every like city has their own little like swagger or like you know what I mean. So like growing up in Linwood, it was like that type of city where you always had a chip on your shoulder. We never repped LA. We're right next door with Compton, so we never like claimed Compton, nothing like that. It was just it was literally a lot of pride uh in Linwood. So even in high school, like we always wore Linwood gear. Whenever we hit up shows, we wore white tees, and we were proud of being from the ghetto and representing that type of shit out there.
Yeah.
So just Mortar Pride carrying that, it literally just like they were the voice of that whole city, whether if you listen to hip hop or you were into hardcore or shit, even ska or punk or metal or whatever the fuck. So that's their sound was literally like voicing the whole community. That's how I felt. It wasn't like as kids we heard Mortar Pride and we are like, oh, we want to carry that swagger. Like, nah, they definitely had that because of where we come from.
Yeah.
So for sure, I feel like that's probably why in our music it kind of bleeds out that way too. It's just like it's just a Linwood thing. Like I don't know. It's crazy, but yeah, man, it's there's a lot of pride in that city.
Yeah, and I love that, right? Because I'm a transplant, right? I currently live in Orange County, but I've been here for like 15 years at this point. So I always try to rep for Orange County as much as I can because it's I've lived here for pretty much half my life now.
For sure.
So it's always cool, and I always think it's special where people aren't like are afraid to rep where they're from because growing up, I feel like it's like almost like the same thing everywhere, right? Where, like people sometimes just grow up and don't really realize how cool like their actual city is because they're always wanting to move to like the bigger city where things are more popular or
Right.
whatever. But I think it's awesome when I see so much pride for the city of Linwood coming from you guys.
Yeah, for sure, man. And you know what's crazy too is like there wasn't really ever a hardcore scene there. You know, it was mostly like growing up as far as like when I was growing up in the 90s and early 2000s, a couple of blocks away from my parents' house, they had this place called Our House Productions. And they used to throw shows there. Mostly it was like ska or punk or sometimes even like new metal stuff. And that was the only spot besides like house shows. And other than that, we would have to hit up like the Allen Theater, which was in Southgate, California,
Hmm.
where eventually there's a lot of hardcore bands that were coming around. And you know, I think I was probably a sophomore or a junior, and that's where I saw Mortar Pride play with the Warriors. Um, but yeah, so that was something new, you know, bringing hardcore to Linwood. So even to this day, I feel like I talk about it with some friends out from Linwood. We're like, we're trying to put some shows out here together just to kind of bring that scene back around. You know, we see what the IE is doing right now, and the IE is doing some great fucking things for their entire community. You know, and I wish we could get that some more out here. You know, most definitely. But yeah, like you said, bigger cities. You know, they just claim LA. There's a lot of LA fucking shows, LA venues.
For me, I think it's really cool to because I've been around for a long time, and just like you, to be able to kind of live through that point when like Linwood got put on the map and things kind of went quiet, but then to be here in 2025 to see this newer band repping just as hard, I think it's really cool.
That's cool. I thank you, man. I appreciate that. And it's just the same thing, you know. We're just trying to represent like where we come from and what we like. Well, personally for me, because you know, obviously I'm writing the lyrics, but just with like what I experienced growing up, you know. And I'm not saying it was something special. Um, Other people who come from other you know, ghetto neighborhoods or like low income neighborhoods, they probably dealt with the exact same things. But you know, I just feel like it needs to be voiced a little bit more in hardcore, you know. Sometimes, you know, and this is not to like shame anybody on writing lyrics about, you know, friendship or being backstabbed or like stuff like that, but like, you know, I want to talk about some more personal stuff that I grew up around, what I felt like helped shape me to become a person, you know.
Yeah, noticed like through the years in your music, the word ghetto, it's used multiple times, which I think is interesting because that's some real shit right there to want to talk about those kinds of struggles and the reality of that. But like when I think about a lot of bands, especially from our area, there's not a lot of people talking about stuff like that consistently.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, you know, like I mentioned earlier, it was just something that we had pride in being ghetto, you know, when we were kids. So I was like, you know what? Like I'm a full-on fucking adult, but there's still that side of me that's still gonna be ghetto no matter what. And I gotta take ownership of that, you know? And you know, to add on to that too, like growing up too, when I had friends or I met people who were not from those type of areas, they were like, why do you love your city so much? You know, like there's a whole bunch of violence and gang banging and you guys don't have shit in your city, you know, and it's like that's the kind of shit is like people should not feel down about where they're from, where they grew up. You know, you shouldn't be able to you shouldn't feel like you have to hide where you're from. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah, and I'm hoping people like you who show pride in areas like Linwood, can inspire other people to kind of try to have that same pride, if they're from a different area, and
Sure.
and I always try to encourage people to hey, if you don't like what's going on in your local area, try to make some change,
Do something about it for
yeah.
sure. And you know, man, that it goes back to the IE shit too. You know, like I remember growing up, a lot of people would talk shit about the IE and you know, just shit on them for like San Bernardino or like different cities and shit. But I'm glad they're doing their thing. I'm glad that they're uh putting their whole fucking area on blast, you know, like putting it out there. And now look at the IE, you know, they're popping off. And there's a lot of pride in there. So I love that shit.
Yeah, I feel like that's a testament to what you know you can do when you kind of like kind of get a group of people and put their minds to it, and everybody starts kind of helping each other instead of trying to tear each other down. They kind of were like, all right, hey, let's kind of collectively bring the IE back alive, because it's always been there, right? There's always been shows in the Inland
Right.
Empire, but I feel like modern day Inland Empire kind of reminds me of what I experienced growing up when I first started getting into hardcore. Consistent shows all over the IE, tons of bands from the IE. So I do agree with you. Like, seeing what's going on out there is really cool. Shout out to people like Division One booking, 5-7, and
Yeah, Andres.
yeah, and like a lot of good bands. Like, if you, for anyone who is familiar with Big Ass Truck, they popped up and they're just kind of like taking over. They're doing a lot of crazy shit now.
We're doing crazy shit.
Yeah,
Just
and
happened today alone, if I know this is gonna be aired later, but they're on Sound and Fury. That's fucking sick.
yeah, and they're like on Warp Tour and doing crazy stuff. So it's
Yeah.
cool to see uh, a band pop up, put in the work, and if you just look at the people in the band and what they're doing for the scene, and not just the music. It's
Yeah, 100%.
and so you mentioned this was a COVID project, because when I joined on and when I found out about you guys, like, was there like a proper demo, or is that first release, the Disturbing the Peace, is that considered the demo?
That's the demo. Yeah, that's the one that we put out. It was just me and the guitarist Moses. Um, just got together, worked on some riffs, for a couple of songs, and we played along to like a YouTube drums, that we snipped off, and then we hit up one of our old homies who used to play in the band we used to play in the band like a long time ago, and he hopped on drums. He's a music teacher now, so he told us straight up, he's like, I'll help you guys out with like recording it, but I'm not gonna play any shows. So we're like, that's cool. Like, we're not trying to do any of that,
Hmm.
And same thing with the bassist. So we put it out, and we let some of our friends hear it, and then some of our friends just shared it, and then we're like, okay, I guess we should put it out because it's getting a pretty cool reaction. So, with like nothing, there was nothing, like there was no goal. So we just put it out, and then eventually we started getting members because we wanted to play our first show, you know?
And was that part easy? Because I feel like when you have like something to present, it's a lot easier to find members versus be like, hey, like, we want to start this thing, and then try to like convince people to try to build things up from scratch.
Yeah, no, for sure. Especially in this case because, um, like we used to write music and go to shows. Like we used to go to a lot of local shows back then and stuff. So, uh, like for example, we hit up our one of my close friends, Cameron, who's still our drummer right now. He used to play for this band called Stress Case back in like 2010, 2009, and hit him up. I've always wanted to jam out with him, and he said, "Hell yeah, let's do it." And then you know what? And it's crazy how everything aligned because once we got Cameron on board, we obviously were trying to find a bassist and then a second guitarist, and it was bands that I grew up fucking watching and like in the local scene. So we got our friend Russell in the band who used to play for a band that we used to go watch. And then we got another friend to play bass that we used to go watch their band growing up too. So it all just kind of came full circle, which is crazy. So yeah, that's the band right now. And so it was pretty easy, and thankfully, like, they stuck around. Just bases, we ended up getting like another basis after that, but I guess maybe that's how it goes.
Yeah, and I feel like it's just part of being in a band, right? You would hope you could keep the same lineup, but yeah, things do happen, and hopefully
Mhm.
things work out in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
And on the Instagram, for the demo, you guys posted that lyric book. Are those like just scans of actually like lyrics that you wrote out, or is that all typed?
No, that's all typed out. I wish I could figure that out. I actually write my lyrics on like a lyric book, like physically.
Okay.
Um, and then I put it onto my phone, like if I record and stuff like that. But yeah, the lyric book that I posted on the page, that's all just typed out. Honestly, I wish I was more creative when it comes to like stuff like that. But yeah, I just found like this. I forgot what it's called. Honestly, I can't even think of the name right now at the top of my head. But um, damn, yeah, I can't think of off the top of my head. But I found it. I used it. I was like, oh, this would look cool for a lyric book. Fuck it, let me use it.
Okay. And how did you guys land on the name Jackknife?
um, so when the project started, like I said, it was just me and Moses. And it was more of like my idea that I came to Moses and I said, yo, I want to start something like this. You're down? He said, fuck it, I'm down. And I got the time. So he didn't even say like we should name this, we should name it that. He was like, what do you have in mind? And I was like, well, fuck, I'm a wrestling fan. So I named it after the Jackknife Powerbomb. Yeah, if anyone's familiar with the Jackknife Powerbomb, which was Kevin Nash's finishing move.
Kevin Nash. What a
Yeah,
legend.
Kevin Nash.
Do you still watch wrestling to this day?
I still watch wrestling, not as much as I did when I was grown, like when I was a kid, but I still watch wrestling here and there. I just went to an AEW show this past Sunday.
Oh, okay, that was one in LA, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, you know, I went to the first AEW that was in LA.
Me too. I was there. I was there too.
Okay, yeah, I have a buddy who's he's way more into wrestling than I am. I'm like a casual fan. But he had hit me up. He's like, "Hey, do you want to go to AEW?" And I was like, "Sure." So we went, and I was surprised that it like started so early. Because
Oh yeah, yeah. Those
yeah,
pay-per-views start like what, like 3, 4 p.m., right?
yeah. Like we got
Yeah.
out, and I was like, I like in my mind, I thought it was just gonna be like a concert where like we things start like in the evening, and then we get out kind of late. But when it wrapped up, we got out, and it was still like pretty early. I was like, this is crazy.
Hey, I wish it was like that this past Sunday, man. We went at 3 o'clock. We didn't get out till like 9:30.
Damn.
Yeah.
Was it fun though?
It was fun. Yeah, it was a great pay-per-view.
Okay.
It's like one of those like I can I'm in my 30s now. I can't do festivals all day long anymore.
Okay.
If I go to a festival, it's like I'm gonna head out like a regular show time, like 7 p.m. Unless there's a band that I really want to see early on. I'm hoping there's like in and outs, so I could go watch the band, go chill out, do something else for a bit, and then I'll come back. I just can't stand there for that long no more, man. It's not.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. I find as I'm getting older, like I hate being in like big crowds. So I think that's what gets me more. I'm just like, I don't want to be.
100%, man.
Yeah, there's too many people here.
Yeah. Or like if they offer, sometimes there's venues where they offer the seating, like the orchestra sitting on top.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'm like, you know what? It was a crazy week. I'm gonna pay extra and I'm gonna sit up there.
Yeah, that's what I appreciate more about. Like I'll go to these like K-pop concerts, and I'm like I'm so much more willing and more happy when it's like a seated like arrangement versus like when it's just general admission and it's just all standing room. I'm like,
All standing.
oh, hell
Yeah.
no. Because with those shows, like people get crazy and like they'll camp out like weeks in advance just to be able to get into the venue first. I'm like, dude, like I can't. I
That's
wish I
crazy.
I wish I had time to camp out because I would probably
Yeah.
do it, but I don't have that kind of time.
So it's like obviously it's a first come, first serve basis, right?
Yeah.
But damn, that's crazy. Camping out like days in advance.
Yeah, they'll set up like a tent, and I was like, "This is insane."
That's wild. And you compare it to like our type of shows where, let's say you really want to see the headliner, and you're like, 2 bands before, I'll start heading out to the front of the stage.
Yeah, or just we'll wait till the pit starts going crazy. You'll make your way to
That's
the front.
true.
Yeah,
Find a way in right during that time.
yeah. So I definitely am right there with you. Yeah, as I've gotten older, I'm like, all right, cool. Seats, I'm down. I can relax. I don't have to stand for the entire show.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So are you just like a super fan of the Kevin Nash's finisher, or is like Kevin Nash one of your like favorite wrestlers?
He's honestly not one of my favorite wrestlers, but I always thought that was gonna be a cool band name, you know, like growing up, like if I picture myself in a band, I was like, that's gonna be a cool band name. I always thought about wrestling finishers. They have really cool names for wrestling finishers. Another one that I was debating on because they were a tag team, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, was Razor's Edge.
Okay.
So I was like, it's gonna be Jackknife or Razor's Edge. And so we just went with Jackknife. And now we have a song called Razor's Edge.
Yeah, you're still able to use it, which is cool.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just so curious about you being a fan of wrestling. Do you still watch like WWE, or are you just more to like the indie stuff?
Um, so growing up, obviously I was watching a lot of WWF, WWE, and I used to watch WCW and ECW too. I used to watch that. But then once I got to like maybe like when I was like 14 or yeah, like around 14 years old, my brother's older than me and he's into wrestling too. So he was driving at the time and we would go to a lot of indie shows. So there was an indie promotion called PWG. When they first started, we went to the first show and we were hooked. And after that, we were just watching all kinds of like indie wrestling. Um, and then got into like ROH, Ring of Honor, New Japan, all that stuff. And so now, like I'll try to watch indie wrestling, but it's pretty dead in LA now, just because everyone has a contract. Like everyone went to AEW or WWE. You know, you see like for example, Brody King, right, from God's Hate is in AEW. Um, yeah, so now it's kind of dead. I'm not gonna lie, like the indie scene. So now I'll try to watch WWE here and there, and I'll catch up. And sometimes I'll try to catch up with AEW, but I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot, you know.
Yeah, there's so many different storylines, and it's literally like multiple shows every week.
Yeah, multiple shows every week, and then on top of that, you still, you know, there's New Japan still happening. Like I saw New Japan in at Cal State Long Beach a couple of years ago, which is pretty sick too, you know.
Mm.
But yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot to catch up on.
Yeah, I'm just like I said, I'm just like very casual, so I'll just like pop in for like the major pay-per-views. I thought I'd probably get into it or get more back into like WWE since it's on Netflix, so I could
Oh
just
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
just pop in whenever I want. But if I'm being honest, I don't think I've watched it since it's been on Netflix.
You know what? I told myself I was gonna watch every episode since it's been on Netflix, and I have not. Like I'll I'll try to watch it here and there, but you know, it's just being an adult sucks. You know, you don't have a lot of time on your hands anymore.
Yeah, I know. I I sometimes like think about when I was younger, and there were like days where I was just like deathly bored because I just had nothing to do. But like I kind of miss those days because now I'm just like having to like fight to just have time to do anything.
Right. Anything at all, right?
Yeah, but I'm happy that the time change happened because I hate when it gets dark early.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know, I feel you. Actually I coach sports. So it sucked getting out of practice and it's dark as hell, you know? And I'm like, damn, well, I feel like my whole entire day is gone. Now I gotta drive home, cook, and call it a day.
What sports do you coach? If you don't mind talking about that.
No, it's cool. I coach basketball, high school basketball, and I coach track and field.
Oh, interesting. How'd you get into that?
Um, I'm a teacher, so they, you know, they opened up the position for coaching, and I was like, hell yeah, you know, I'll do it. I've had experience coaching travel ball for basketball, and then for track and field, yeah, same thing. They needed a coach, and I said, yeah, I could do that too. I'll do it. So it takes up a lot of my time for sure, but it's fun.
Now, is this like a middle school or a high school or?
It's a high school.
Okay,
Yeah.
damn that. I can imagine how that would be a lot having to deal with like a bunch of teenagers.
They're not that bad, man. There's a lot of good kids for sure. Like I feel like, I can't speak about every high school
Hmm.
because, I think about my high school experience and it was fucking hell, you know? And it wasn't about bullying or anything, but it was more so like having to go through metal detectors, not knowing who's fighting, who's gonna get jumped, or a shooting right outside the school. It was pretty crazy. But yeah, the school that I teach at, great kids. So yeah, the teenagers aren't bad, man. It's great. It's great to work with them.
Now, how's the squad? Are you guys pretty like decent or?
Um, well, basketball, we just lost our D1 run um like a month ago. And then right now it's track and field season. And we got about 90 kids on the track and field team.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of kids.
So, and obviously, there's like other coaches for track and field, right, to help manage all
Yeah.
that.
It's just honestly, it's just two of us. It's just two of us for track and field. We should have more, especially when we have 90 kids and there's a whole bunch of different events.
Yeah,
We try to manage with what we can.
that's insane.
I'm not gonna lie, it is pretty crazy. Like it's a stressful situation, especially when you have to board two school buses
Hmm.
to go out to a track meet, and then making sure everyone's back on the bus and making sure we're answering questions or helping kids out for their events. So it is definitely a stressful situation.
Ever lost a kid? Like, oh shit, Jimmy didn't get on the
Nah,
bus.
luckily, no. Luckily, I've never ever had that, and I hope that doesn't happen.
That's wild, but that's cool though. Being involved in more than just being a teacher.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. That's the fun part. That's the fun part for sure.
Okay, so uh, you guys get some band members, and you're able to start playing some shows. Was there a point where like, okay, cool, we're actually doing this? This Jackknife band. This is more than just like a COVID thing.
Yeah, most definitely. Like once we started playing shows and we started getting our actual lineup, it was like, okay, this is pretty cool. And now it's just like knocking off bucket list stuff, like playing out of state or hopefully, soon, rather or later, playing out of the country would be super sick. So that's our biggest focus is just playing shows, keep writing music, releasing music, and trying to play states that we haven't played.
You guys got to get into Tijuana.
I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm super down for that. We were actually trying to plan a show with our boys in Hate Speech and Monk to play TJ, but it hasn't happened yet. But I feel like it's gonna come for sure.
Yeah, I was just down in TJ a couple weeks ago for a show. It's pretty
Oh,
cool.
sick.
Yeah,
What show was that, by the way?
my friends playing a band called Contention from Florida, and they were on tour. So it was Contention, and then some of the members also played in another band called Dogmatic. And
Okay.
yeah, it was Contention, Dogmatic, Abstain from San Diego played, and then like a local band called Gray Out, and there was two other local bands, but I honestly can't remember the name.
Gray Out's sick.
Oh, you've seen them before?
I've seen them before and I've heard them. Yeah, I've seen the videos too. Yeah, Gray Out is sick.
Yeah, yeah. They got a pretty good following out there and got a pretty solid sound. And I've been to like two shows there recently, and it's pretty cool. Like I always get like people hitting me up like, oh, like how was it? Is it safe? And like what's it like down there? And if I'm being honest, like I never once like have felt like any like sketchiness or anything weird. And I know bad things do happen in that city, but like it's not like happening everywhere, and like not the
Right.
places that we're going, because we're just rolling in, going to the hardcore show, getting some food, and we're not really there to cause trouble or do anything crazy.
For sure. It's growing up, like going to TJ. it was really different back then. I'm not sure if you ever went to TJ when you were a kid.
I did, but like I went with like my parents, so like we would just like stroll in, and this
Oh
is
yeah, for sure.
and this is when you could just like walk into Mexico, like no passport needed or anything,
Nothing.
and we would just get food, kind of do some shopping, and then just come back.
Yeah, and it was like there wasn't a lot of people living there. You know, it was like a lot of mountains and shit, right?
Mhm.
But now I feel like it's overpopulated, which is a good thing, you know, kind of. But I feel like they have a lot going on now. Like, my girl's parents actually live in TJ, so
Okay.
we go out there here and there. And I went to a Wingstop out there. I'm not gonna lie, that Wingstop was like top tier.
Wingstop, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to like the last time I was there, we went to this like taco spot that was like in some like Netflix documentary, and it has like like a Michelin star, so it was like a big deal. Like, there was a fucking long ass line, but I think it was worth the wait. The food was really good.
Okay. That's something I gotta try too. I always try to avoid those Michelin star spots just because I don't know. I just feel like it's gonna be too packed or overpriced or whatever. But
Yeah, my friends who were like local to the area, they said that they like doubled the price for the tacos since like
oh, that's crazy.
the like documentary came out, but but coming from the US, like the US dollar is still pretty strong down there.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it'll fluctuate, right? But I think right now it's still pretty strong. Yeah.
Yeah, so
But next time you go to TJ, there is a Brazilian barbecue spot
okay,
that you gotta try.
I'm
And
down.
it's like 12, $15 per person.
All right.
And it's nonstop meat that they bring to you, and they have tables full of like all kinds of Mexican food, dessert, salads. Amazing. Drinks are great too. They have a bar. I don't drink, but they have a bar, but I get a it's tamarindo lemonade.
Okay.
Fire.
Yeah,
Fire.
that sounds awesome. I got to tap into that because I'm always curious about trying to eat new stuff because obviously we live in Southern California. There's good tacos everywhere.
Yeah.
So I'm down for like a kind of like a buffet steakhouse thing.
Yeah, that's a go-to for sure.
Yeah, and I tell people just if you're on tour, if you're playing San Diego, you might as well play TJ because it's literally right there. It's like a stone's throw
Might as
away.
well.
Yeah, it's pretty close. And
Yeah.
yeah, like for everyone who asks me, like if it's safe, I'll say yes because I've been there. Like, and even the last time that I went, we left Mexico probably like around like 1 in the morning, and I walked back to my car alone. Nobody bothered me.
Nothing, right? Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there was people, going into Mexico because it was like a Saturday night, so people were going in to go hit the clubs, and people were leaving just like me, and like yeah, like well, like I've been in some sketchy places, but like that one, like I said, I walked away like I was alone and I felt fine.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm with you. I think it's safe too. I mean, it does look sketchy when you're walking around sometimes, certain areas at certain times, but at the end of the day, it's pretty chill.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, if you're going down there for a show, if you're going to go play a show, it's like, uh, just stick to the area where the shows are because they're not playing shows in like sketchy places. Like it's on this main strip, and like the two places that I went to were like two different bars, and it was fine.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely got to make it out there for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, especially now because I feel like there's like a bunch of kids out there who are like just really like supportive of what's coming through because they know that it's like not every band's coming through. So like it's one of those things where like all right, like whoever comes through, like we always got to support. And so there's like the strong support from the locals, and then even there's kids from San Diego who will cross over, which I think is like really cool because if I lived that close, I would do the same thing too. Like, hey, it's just like driving to the local show, but we just got to cross this international border.
Right, right. Yeah,
Um,
that's cool, man. I mean, yeah, I mean, they have 2 bands out there that are really sick. I'm not familiar with a lot of their, bands or artists that they have out there, but like I said, Grey Out is sick and Violencia is fucking amazing.
mhm.
Love that band.
Yeah, and I feel like when I'm down there and I see kids with like, like repping like so many different bands, I'm like, dude, these people are tapped in. They know what's going on. So I was just like, since like the first show that I went to out there like last summer, I had such a good experience and everybody was super nice. I've just been trying to encourage everybody. It's like, hey, go down there. It's fun. You'll have a good time.
That's what's up. Hell yeah.
Okay. And uh, after the demo, did it take long for you guys to want to start writing again?
Honestly, no. It was like after the demo, we had a whole bunch of songs lined up.
Hmm.
It was just a matter of like, what do we want to do with it, you know? Um, like I know there's a lot of different I guess strategies of like how people want to put out music, you know. There's bands out there that want to put out like singles or just a demo or a split or EP or even save it for an album, right? So for us, it was just a matter of like, all right, what do we want to do here? So we just sat on some songs for a while and we recorded it and then just like sat on them and then re-recorded it. So then eventually it led up to that EP, Ghetto Takeover that we put out through Nothing Less Records. And I'm glad we waited because everything like just like personally, I feel like it was like a storytelling type of EP where I mostly talked about like growing up in the 90s.
Damn, that's a long EP. I thought you guys were calling that the full length.
You know, we get that a lot. People are like, "Well, fuck, that's a lot of tracks. Like, you sure it's not a full length?" And we're like, we're gonna call it an EP just because like there's an intro and there's a couple of skits. I'm a big fan of like hip hop skits,
Hmm.
like how Ludacris used to do it, Kanye, you know. So I just had this idea in my head that I want to put together some skits that'll bring some of the songs together. So yeah, I didn't want to call it an album, but it does look like a fucking album. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and I like the skits too because it's just kind of gets to show like a different side of you guys, right? Just
Yeah,
have some fun because obviously doing music's awesome and getting to consume that is cool, but to get to see like that comedic side, I think it's awesome.
yeah, that's definitely something that we want to do. You know, we don't want to be serious all the time, and definitely want to show some funny shit on there. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, and you that's funny that you mentioned Ludacris because that was like the first thing that it reminded me of because I growing up like listening to like a lot of Ludacris, and you listen to his
Yeah, hell
albums.
yeah,
There's
me
there's
too.
always skits, and it's just it was just something fun to look forward to because obviously it's like there's a bunch of good music, but then there's also these like funny ass skits that just like stick with you. So
For sure. You know, as a kid growing up, hearing that for the first time, it was hilarious, you know? It's not like you would play it back like over and over again, but whenever it would come on the radio, or not the radio, but whenever it would come on from you playing it, like it was always funny. And then even till now, even till this day, like I still remember some of those skits. So that
mhm.
was definitely the plan. Like I would just want to play, I just want to add that in there and just for kind of like for fun for us, you know. And then if people like it, people like it. But if not, fuck it, skip it.
And can you talk about the name of the album, Ghetto Takeover? What inspired that?
um, damn. I wish I had like a cool thing to talk about that, but it just kind of it just kind of came in my mind, you know. Like you said, it was just something that we wanted to push with the word ghetto, and I was just thinking of EP names or album names,
Hmm.
and it kind of just popped into my head, and I said, "All right, this kind of fits the vibe," and just went with it, and everybody agreed to it, so that was cool.
And who did the artwork for Ghetto Takeover? Because I think it's pretty sick. That weird skeleton looking guy.
Oh man, you know, okay, so damn, I wish I knew like the name of the dude. Fuck, I can't remember, but he has some sick pictures on his profile, and he's from Linwood.
Hmm.
And I hit him up and I asked him, "Yo, would it be cool if we use some of your pictures for the for artwork?" And he said, "Yeah, for sure." And we talked some a bit, And then I found this dude. His name's Spitty the Rat, and he's from Colombia. And he does like pretty sick artwork, which is on the EP. But um, fucking cats. Oh my god. Um, so I hit him up and I just asked him if he could do some art over the pictures,
Mm-hmm.
and he killed it, man. On the first damn try, I didn't even have to. Hold on, let me get my cat out of here.
No, you're all good. You're all good.
What are you doing, bro? All right. Yeah. So this dude Spitty from Colombia, he's the one that did that. Honestly, I can't even remember how the hell I found him. I just kind of like randomly ran into it, and it just fit like something that I had pictured in my head. And so I just hit him up, and yeah, he did his thing, man. Shout out to Spitty.
And the photographer was cool with like the
Oh yeah,
graffiti.
photographer was cool. Um, Showed him the final piece like before I even try to like use it or post it or nothing,
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. He was cool about it. He was like, "Oh, that's what's up," you know. And just because he was from Linwood, he was like, "Hey, I appreciate you guys for repping Linwood and doing your thing," you know.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. Yeah, because when I look at like the artwork, it's like, oh, this reminds me of like some like old like Mickey Mouse, like Steamboat Willie type cartoons.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, that's awesome. And did he just do the like artwork with like the drawings, or did he also do like the lettering as well?
No, he did the lettering too. Yeah, which is now our new logo. Which at first it was just like, that's cool for the artwork, you know, for
Mm-hmm.
the EP artwork. But after a while, like people liked the new logo, and I was like, okay, cool. I guess we're gonna keep this for now, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
so he did all that, yeah.
And the last track on that record, uh, Street Paranoia. There's some like guest vocals on there. Can you talk about how you got that to happen?
Oh man, that was fun. So Street Paranoia was actually, man, we were playing that song for a cool minute. That was one that we never recorded, and then finally we did. But as soon as I heard the song, I was like, I gotta hit up Richie,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I feel like it's only proper. Like, yeah, we put out our first demo or whatever, but I was like, this is our first like EP or album. And I hit up Richie, showed him the song. He was super down, and that was sick. It was just a full circle moment for me too, you know, having someone who inspired me and made me believe that there was a place for hardcore in Linwood, you know, to come out in this track and do his fucking thing, you know. Like I had lyrics for him, and he used them obviously, but the whole intro part, he just kind of freestyled that part. And I was just sitting on the couch like, this is sick. This is super sick. So yeah, man. He did his thing. He came out. It was fun, and I feel like it just fit perfectly. And we
Yeah,
got to play it live a couple of times with him too, which is super fun.
yeah. When I saw that, I was like, okay, this is awesome. I love the, like older generation, like support the younger generation coming up, because not everybody is going to be supportive of like the next wave of kids or whatever, but I think it's important to be supportive, right? Because they're going to be the future. Like, we're not going to be here forever. So for just to see that collab, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Like, two different generations of like Linwood hardcore like coming together to show that like strength and unity.
Yeah, for sure, man. I was geeked out about it. Even though he's a homie, like I was still geeking out about it.
Yeah, because for the longest time, like because like when they were active, I didn't know them. I was just like a fan of the band, and then they kind of took a step back and kind of went on like hiatus. And I'd always kind of like ask around, like just random people. I'm like, oh, whatever happened to More to Pride? And I would hear like just like a bunch of like different stories, and I was like, oh, I wonder which one's true. So getting to do that sit down with Richie a while back, it was really awesome for me, just to kind of kind of clear the air and just hear it from him.
For sure. Yeah. And I can't remember the timing of it, but I want to say at least when he recorded the track, like the original, because we dropped it as a single for a bit, and then we put it on the EP. But I don't think Mortar Pride was like fully back yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was still like in the background that they wanted to come back and play shows and shit like that. And I think at the time he was still doing Evil Ways. So if I remember like the timeline correctly, so the fact that he recorded that and we put it out, and I think that's when Mortar Pride started coming back. I was like, oh, this is perfect time.
Yeah. And I'm happy that they are still doing shows, because
For sure.
for a band to have like I said, like I feel like Mortar Pride and Jack, they both have like unique sounds that stand out. So for people who probably weren't around back then to be able to get to hear it and experience it live in 2025, I'm like, this is so sick.
Yeah, for sure.
So that record comes out. Did you guys want to do a lot on it, like touring wise, and just trying to like get out there, since it was like such like so much music?
Yeah, you know what? We talked about it. It was just really hard for everyone to be on board with like doing a lot of, I guess, like touring and stuff like that. So we just said, you know what, let's just we did like a weekend release, and we played a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, invited some homies. And then after that, that's when we first started going like out of state. And it wasn't necessarily just like pushing it. We were pushing it like low key, just because obviously like a lot of people haven't heard about us. So we're just trying to push it in that sense. But it wasn't like we're doing a run or a tour based off of the EP.
Mhm. Yeah, well, I think it's cool to get out there, because I feel like that's like where like it's like hard work, right, to get out there, hit the road, and play a bunch of shows, especially out of like your local scene. So
Yeah.
so for you guys to be able to get a couple shows out there, I feel like that's cool. And I feel like that's like the best way to get out there and try to get new people into your band, because obviously like the internet's cool, it's easy for everybody, but people miss things, right? Not everybody's going to be clicking on the links or checking out
Oh yeah,
all
for
the
sure.
stuff that their friends are posting. But to get to play a show and play for people who might not even known you guys existed, I feel like that's always a great way for any band to get out there and you kind of put in the real work, and get people to get interested in your band.
For sure. That's the goal. Like we're kind of like older heads, so we're not really like trying to focus on what ways we could like flourish in uh like the online world or like on social media and stuff. So we're just like, you know what, let's just fucking put in the work and grind, and at the same time we're hanging out with each other and having a good fucking time. So that was definitely the goal. Just fucking go out there, grind it, and play some shows out of state here and there from what we can do.
Hmm. And I was fortunate enough to have seen you guys live at that Creator Tattoo out in Pomona.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that show is crazy. There's so many bands that played that.
There's so many bands on that bill. Yeah, yeah. And that spot now, I think that was the first show at that tattoo parlor.
Okay.
Now there's so many shows there, which
Yeah.
is sick. Now it feels like it's a part of like the hardcore community, which I feel like it should always be that way, right? Like the tattoo world and hardcore community should always like come together. But yeah, I'm glad, and especially because in the IE, and I feel like IE is losing so many spots and venues now. Like there's a place that'll pop off for a couple of months or a year, and then they got to shut it down for whatever reason, right?
Yeah.
So
And
I'm glad they got that.
yeah, and it's crazy for them to, because you got to think like that's like a like legit business, but for them to want to do more and help out and host those kinds of things, it's pretty
Yeah,
crazy.
that's super. Yeah, that's crazy and super sick.
Yeah, honestly, I thought it was kind of funny, because I'd never been to that area of Pomona before.
Oh yeah, me either.
Yeah, and then they kind of like just let me know, they're like, hey, don't go wandering around. Yeah, just kind of stay here. And I'm like, I got it. So it's nice to have gotten the heads up.
As soon as we got there and we parked and we were on Holt Street, and then we saw we saw what was going on, the hookers and stuff.
That blew my mind. I
Yeah,
did.
I was like, okay, we're in this type of area now. All right.
I had no idea because after the show, they're like, yo, like let's go to In-N-Out. So I'm down. So I'm like, put it in like the GPS. I'm cruising down Holt, just like all these like girls. I'm just like, what is this? This is insane. Yeah.
You're like, they don't have this in Orange County.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting, but dude, like went to this In-N-Out, and like it was like the smallest parking lot I'd ever seen for an In-N-Out. The line was like down the block, like on the main road. So I was like, I'm not fucking waiting in this. I'm going home. So I just like hit up the homies. I'm like, yo, like, good seeing you guys. I'm going home. Like, this is insane.
Damn, that sucks.
But shout out Creator Tattoo. I love that they're involved, and it's always cool seeing people getting tattooed there. I think I saw one of the dudes from Pull Your Card and got like the side of his head tattooed.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
I think Gabe from Darsum has been there. The dudes from Smoked like go there to get tattooed. Like, yeah, I keep seeing a lot of people from the hardcore community going there.
Yeah,
which is dope.
Yeah, I haven't gotten it's been years since I've got tattooed.
Oh, damn, really?
Yeah, because like when I was younger, I'm like, oh, this is so cool. But now, like when I get tattoos when I'm older, I'm like, this hurts.
You're like, this sucks.
Yeah. But the last time I tried getting tattooed was like I was on vacation, and just like scheduling with like the tattoo artist like didn't work out because she's like something like she's like really popular because I went to Korea for vacation.
Oh,
Yeah. So and I've been following this like tattoo artist for like years, just like really love like her style. She does like it's like really like just awesome like traditional tattooing, like American traditional.
Yeah.
and yeah, she like I just wasn't there like long enough because like her like as soon as like her like booking opened up, like a lot of like they just like filled up really fast. But I'm going back this year for longer, so I have like a better chance of getting tattooed because I won't be so like because I'll have more time.
So. Okay. You travel to Korea a lot?
Oh, last year was my first time, so this year will be my second time.
Oh, sick. How long were you out there the first time?
For 1 week.
Was it worth it? Like, was it enough time, or was?
I honestly thought about just quitting my life and just staying there. I was like looking up just like manual labor jobs and just like any ways I could make money. And I was like talking to my like local friends. I was like, is this like a livable wage? I'm like, no, you're gonna be poor. Don't do it.
It's not worth it.
Yeah. But I honestly know, like when I got there, because I'd been like dreaming of going there since like 2020. And when I finally got there, there's just like this like moment where I was like, wow, I didn't realize I could be so happy, because like I like my life. I like my life's fine, whatever. I do cool shit. But like when I was there, I was just like, this is insane. Because like I was just like just loving every moment of it. And yeah, I'm designed to get back. I'm going the last 2 weeks of October. So.
Oh, sick. Hell yeah. That's what's up.
Yeah. So
yeah. We talked about it as a band, and we would love to go play Korea, and Japan. Japan would be super sick. Our friends at Self Sabotage just announced a tour not that long ago. They're playing Japan for like a full on like 2 weeks, I think.
2 weeks. That's crazy because most bands just go and do like I think like 4 or 5 dates and then take off.
Right? Yeah. No, they're doing a lot.
Yeah, Japan's a dream of mine. I gotta get out there. Like I'm planning on going there because I'm staying in Korea for 2 weeks, but planning on trying to do at least 3 days in Osaka because it's only like a 2-hour plane ride from where I'm staying.
Okay.
Yeah, so hopefully this year, that's the plan. Hopefully this year I can finally go to Japan and cross that off like the bucket list.
For sure, yeah. And I heard they're offering now like free flights within Japan.
Free. I like free.
Right? Yeah, me too.
I've not, like, I don't know. I've never been, so I'm curious.
Yeah, me either. I'd love to visit there. I gotta go out there for sure.
Well, you got to get the band, do a small run out there.
That's man, that's the goal. I feel like if I want to go visit a different country, might as well take the band, play a few shows, and then just go out there and fucking take it as a like uh just go out there and explore. Might as well.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool because when I was in Korea, I had just missed like a hardcore show, and there wasn't like anything else going on like while I was there. So I'm hoping when I go back this year that there's at least something I can go to.
That would be super sick.
Yeah, because I've been to like hardcore shows in Mexico. Went to Colombia for the first time 2 years ago for hardcore, and that was insane. So
Who who played?
that year, it was a fest being put on by the guys from Raw Brigade, and there's like a ton of cool local bands, but like the headliners was like No Pressure one day and Tsunami the other day.
Oh my god. That's amazing.
Yeah, and for it being like my first like like real like international hardcore show, it was insane because like they showed so much love to every American band. Like they knew all the words. Kids were moshing crazy. It was wild.
That's what's up. Hell yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's one of those things too where like like they appreciate people putting in the effort to traveling to the country to go play a show. So everybody listened to the music, took the time to learn the lyrics, and everybody was just like I said going crazy.
That's what's up. Hell yeah. Yeah, I've noticed Raw Brigade does a lot of like they're doing more shit, like more shows out there, right?
Yeah, I don't know if they're doing the festas here. If they do, I've been dying to go back because I went for the first time, and then like the year after that they didn't put it on, which was last year, and then this
Okay.
year I think it's still up in the air. If I'm being honest.
That'd be super sick.
Yeah, it was like I said, it was just like a trip, but then also if like being there in like like such like a foreign country, uh, it's like oh like every like all the people from America like we all like knew each other, so like this cool little like group like oh hey like what are you doing here? It's like we're here for the show, so it was just cool to kind of have like this like camaraderie and like this whole other part of the world.
For sure. Yeah. No, that's amazing. That's definitely like something on my bucket list for sure.
Okay, so fast forward to 2025, you guys drop a new single, Ghetto Stomp, which was nice way to kind of start the new year. We get a new track from Jackknife. Is this leading up to a new record, or is this like a promo just to kind of keep us warm until you guys decide to write more music?
Yeah, it's just a new single, keep you guys warm for some new music, but we definitely have new music written. It's just trying to finalize some things, and we're still writing too. And I don't want to say too much, but definitely working on a split.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, definitely working on a split.
Okay. And can you talk about that single? Why you guys decided to record that song? Did you guys have other songs?
Yeah. Yeah, before we even wrote this song, we had three new ones, and we played them at a couple of shows here and there. I think Program, we played a couple of new songs, and it got a good reaction, and it was cool. But it was just one of those days where we just got together and everyone was feeling it, and we just wrote this new song. And right off the bat, like day one, we're like, all right, this sounds like a single. So then we just got together, kind of messed with it a little bit, and then we hit the studio for pre-pro. Luckily, we do pre-pro at our studio, and then afterward, yeah, we recorded it, and we're like, yeah, this is the one that we got to drop for sure to keep people on their toes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it only felt right because it has the title Ghetto in it. It's like starting off 2025, still ghetto.
You got to remind people.
Got gotta remind them.
Yeah, and I was happy with the track because when I first heard it, I was damn, like these guys are killing it. This is sick.
Thank you, man.
And who did that artwork? 'Cause that shit's crazy.
Oh man, that's the homie, man. That's the homie Mark. Shout out Mark Shetbone. He tattoos over in. Damn, I'm gonna fuck this up. I don't even want to say the wrong damn city.
Okay.
Uh,
All right. Well, maybe
somewhere in the IE, he tattoos.
Okay.
I'm like drawing a blank. My bad, bro. But shout out Mark. He's killing it, man. He's tattooing my left leg right now. So I have some artwork from him from this year and last year. But yeah, man, I hit him up and asked him if he could do artwork for us. And he said, hell yeah. And so he threw, honestly, he's like, what do you want? And I said, I just want someone's face getting stomped in by Air Force Ones. And I was like, specifically black Air Force
Okay, I was gonna ask, like, was that intentional to make him black?
It was intentional. And you know what? Like, only a couple of people have brought it up and said, did you put black Air Force Ones in there on purpose? I was like, yeah, that was done intentional. But he fucking killed it. That was not even what I was expecting. I was just expecting something like, I don't know. I didn't give much detail. I was just like, someone's face getting stomped in. He gave us back that, and I was like, fuck yes, let's do it.
Yeah, I think my favorite part is like the eyeball by the Nike swoosh.
Yeah. Yeah, I fuck with that. I told him too. I was like, you know what? I told myself I would never get like my own band stuff like tattooed on me. Nothing against people who got their bands tattooed on them, but when I saw that artwork, I was like, all right, I need this on me. I'm not gonna lie.
Did you get it on you yet, or?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I have not thought of like a spot to get it on me, but it's gonna happen. You're gonna see that. You're gonna see a black Air Force One on me.
That's wild. Yeah, you gotta let people know what type of time you're on when you show up with the black forces on.
They're gonna know what time it is for sure. All right, real quick. Orange Street Tattoo in Redlands, California. Boom. That's the one. Hit it up.
Shout out Redlands.
Yep. Shout out Redlands. Shout out Mark Shetbone. Follow him on Instagram.
I used to go to a lot of hardcore shows in Redlands in my early days.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah, there's like there's always like these two churches out there. There was like Tithamy and Oasis Church, and they were like legit churches, but they were having these crazy hardcore shows. Like Oasis was in the basement of the church, and like Tithamy was like in some like kind of like in this like industrial park. I think it was like across the street from like a Target or something. But I was always just blown away because I was like, there's these like awesome Christian bands, but then I'm over here like seeing like Donnybrook for the first time at like this at Tiffany in this like small ass room, and they had like Star Wars stuff like painted on the walls. I mean, this is insane.
That's what's up. You know what though? It's always the Christian shows, the Christian bands that they go all out. Like growing up too, and also like in 2010, Dynasty. Dynasty was having a lot of shows, and it was wild.
Yeah, like I remember like this like specific era where it was like Mortar Pride, Dynasty, Like It or Not, like those three bands were just like killing it at the time, like all at the same time, and you're just like, what is going on? This is like so.
And when
insane.
you saw that on the bill, shit was gonna go down.
Yeah.
And also TIE Fighter. Shout out TIE Fighter.
TIE Fighter. I totally like that's insane. Shout out TIE Fighter.
Shout out TIE Fighter, man.
Such a cool band name. And the band was cool too. I got to see them a bunch of times.
Yeah, me too. I actually saw them. I think I saw them with Dynasty over in Rancho Cucamonga. What was that venue called? It was a church.
Nitty Gritty.
Nitty Gritty. It was a Nitty Gritty. That was the last time that I saw them. But before that, I had seen TIE Fighter a couple of times. So our second bassist was the drummer, and then he moved up to vocals for TIE Fighter.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I want to say I saw them in this like front yard of this house in Pomona that was like across the street from like a cemetery, and I thought it was like the craziest thing.
It would be Pomona.
Yeah, because I'm like, oh, cool, we're at the show, but I couldn't get over the fact because this was like back when I was like, I was like an amateur ghost hunter back in the day. So like I was just like, oh, me and my friends were just at the show, but I was just so like tripping out, like, dude, we're probably pissing off all these ghosts with all this loud random music.
That's crazy. What? Hey, did you record any of that?
No, wait, like the show back in the day?
No, no, like ghost hunting stuff.
No. Me and my friends were like pretty poor back then, so we had like one homie had his like night vision goggles he got from like pre-ordering Call of Duty.
I had those.
Yeah, yeah, we
Was
had.
it Modern Warfare 2?
Yeah, it was Modern Warfare 2. Yeah, and we had like a Ouija board, but we're like very very low tech back then. This was like the late 2000s when we are doing this stuff.
I was gonna say this needs to be released if you have that.
No. You want to hear something crazy? I don't think I've ever told this story publicly. Recently, I swear, and this sound, I know how crazy this sounds. So, like, it's okay if you don't, believe it or if you think it's crazy. But
I believe in all that shit 100%. So I'm ready for it.
Okay, so this had been like months ago at this point, but like I swear I was attacked by a ghost, and I'm not even kidding. It was like this, like like it had to been like November time because I was like really sick. I don't know what I got, but I was like dying. Not like I say dying, but I mean like over dramatic. But I was just like really sick, just like coughing up blood and like I was just like throwing up, whatever. But I was like on the tail end of it, and I had to go to work, whatever. So I remember I went to work, just minding my own business, just doing my thing, and I was like hustling or whatever, and I just remember just being really sweaty, which was like not normal because normally this is like back in November, it's so cold out, so I'm like, why am I so sweaty? So like I go to like rub like the back of my neck, and it's like really slimy, which I'm like, oh, this is really fucking weird. I was like, what the hell's going on? So like I bust out like my phone, and I'm like taking like a wide like a 1.5 like video to see like if there's like
Yeah.
something on the back of my neck, and like I'm like filming myself, and then I play back the video, and I'm watching it, and like all down my neck and my back there's like these crazy like scratches, and like there's like this weird like goopy stuff like kind of seeping out, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And like I was like kind of like freaking out, 'cause I'm like, what the hell is that? Because like I didn't realize that was there like the whole time that I'd been awake. So like when I got home, I was like thinking about it. I was like, what could that have been? And like the night before, I'd like slept for like the majority of the day. So I was like, maybe I like strangled myself on accident while sleeping. But I'm like, no, like there's no, like, even if I like wrapped up myself in the blanket and I accidentally was like choking myself, there's no, these were like, it was like scratches, like these
There's no
long,
way.
yeah, it was like these
Yeah.
long, crazy like scratches like coming down like the like back of my neck. And I was just like, dude, like, what the fuck was that? And like the only conclusion I had was like, I got attacked by a ghost. And I know that sounds crazy, but I'm just like, it's been a while since I've like kind of like dabbled with like the the like spiritual stuff and ghosts and demons and stuff. But I was like, maybe something just kind of like forgot about me and decided to come back. But it
That's
was,
crazy.
yeah,
So where did this happen?
literally uh, off camera. You can't see it, but
So it was right there.
yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah, and like. And I was tripping out because I was like monitoring it for like days, and it took like a really long time for like those like scratches to go away. But it never happened again. And like I said, it's been months and I've been fine. But that shit was
That's
like,
wild, man.
yeah.
Okay, so I got a story.
All right. No, I'm curious.
Just because we're talking about this, and this happened literally a couple of weeks ago. So I've never seen shit in my apartment. Never felt anything, never heard anything, nothing like that. But a couple of weeks ago, this one night, um, my girlfriend claims she doesn't snore when she sleeps. So I was like, "You're snoring loud as fuck. I'm about to record this." So I grabbed my phone to record like a memo, right? A voice memo.
Mm-hmm.
And I was having trouble trying to go to sleep, so I just put it back down. Didn't think much of it. I was like, I'm gonna show it to her in the morning. Went back to sleep. Woke up in the morning. She was gone to work. I get up and I remembered, and so I grabbed my phone and I played it back. And there's someone whispering in the beginning of the audio.
What are
Like
they?
I would play it here, but I don't know if you're gonna be able to hear it. But
What are they saying?
to me, it sounds like someone whispered, like in a Voldemort type of voice, saying, "Go back to sleep."
And could that have been you on accident, or?
No way. I had the TV off. Uh, there's no way. I was not talking. I was even thinking maybe it was like my phone. You know, how sometimes when you're recording and the phone's like going through like objects and shit, or like the sheets, and it makes like a weird noise.
Yeah,
Yeah, I couldn't like I couldn't find a different way to like this to justify what the hell just happened.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
But but did you get her snoring?
I did get her snoring. So I showed it to her. She freaked out, and I was like,
Okay.
"Wait, the main part of this is that you're snoring."
Yeah,
And I got
ignore the random ghost, just
Yeah,
that's crazy.
yeah, and I do live next to a cemetery as well, so
Really? Damn.
maybe it was just a ghost in passing or something.
Yeah, dude, that shit gets uh and I get how wacky like it can seem, but yeah, like me and my friends, like we used to go hang out in the cemetery, and we would come across some weird shit. Like,
Oh yeah,
like
you're asking for it.
yeah, no, for sure, for sure. But like the craziest thing, so there's like the oldest part of the cemetery, which is like in this like far corner. But right next to it is like the mausoleum where they put the people who are like cremated.
Oh shit.
And my grandma's like she's there. And one night we were because like we would like our logic, we're like these like like young dumb teenagers, we're like, all right, if we go to the oldest part of the cemetery, that's where the ghosts are going to be. So we were out there, just we're calling for ghosts, like, hey, is anybody here, like give us a sign. And like we're on foot, 'cause, like we would like park, because it was crazy, because this cemetery, you can they like there was no like fence to like lock it up. It was just like open 24 hours a day,
Oh shit. Okay.
yeah. So we would park and we would just get out and we would just wander to try to find shit. And we were in the oldest part of the cemetery, and we were like calling out for like ghosts to like give us a sign or whatever. And we heard this lady like in the distance like speaking to us, and we're like shh. We're like all freaking out, like be quiet, like there's somebody there. And we're like trying to like hear what she's saying. And this is like in the heat of the moment, we're all like freaking out, like what the fuck is that? And one of our friends was just like, oh, like can't understand her, it sounds like she's speaking a different language. And then in my brain it like clicked. I'm like, wait. So I like tried to like focus a little more, and it sounded like she was speaking like a Cambodian, because like I'm half Cambodian, half Filipino.
Oh
And,
shit.
it sounded like she was speaking Cambodian. And I was telling my
Yeah.
friends, I'm like, yo, there's no fucking way that's my grandma right there. Because because we were like right next to the mausoleum, and we're tripping out. But that was probably like the craziest thing that ever happened. But like we would walk.
That's crazy though. That gave me chills. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I told my mom about it, and she's like, probably was your grandma. Stop doing that crazy shit. Because we would, and like we had this homie, his girlfriend lived in this house with like her parents, but like that house was like it would just get kind of passed around through like different members of like the family, like oh, like like her like aunt, like she had like two like aunts that like lived there before her, and
Yeah.
her like mom and dad lived there. And apparently like they were like real witches, and like they would do like black magic and shit. And like I'm hearing this, I'm like, this is fucking bullshit, you guys are lying. And they're like, no, like straight up, like there's this room that they had, and they called it the toy room, and allegedly that's where they did all the black magic. And they're like, yeah, like no, dude, like this is like
Why the toy room? Why the fucking toy room?
but they would tell us, they'd be like, yeah, like we have toys, and this is why they called it the toy room. They would have like old ass toys and electronics in that room that are like battery operated, that would just go off in the middle of the night with no batteries in them.
Fuck that.
And I was like, you guys are fucking lying. And they're like, no, they're like you can come and experience it yourself. And I'm like, all right, like let's go. So we went, and never in my life had I felt anything like this. Like I remember walking through like the like threshold, like walking into the room, and like all of a sudden it was just like heavy, right? And
Yeah.
we're like, what the fuck is this? And I was like, this is fucking weird. So we got kind of creeped out or whatever. And like we would hang out there just on some like normal shit. We'd go there to watch like Community, like when Community was like airing live on TV.
Yeah.
And like we'd be watching Community, just all of us just posted up in the living room, and then all of a sudden kitchen sink would turn on, cabinets would go flying open, and I'm just like, damn, there's something weird going on here.
Yeah.
But like it wasn't until something like had like followed me home, that's when I was like, that was like was my worst fear. And like
Yeah.
once like that happened, I like called all my friends. I'm like, dude, I was like, I'm out. Like I've seen too many like horror movies where this doesn't end good. And I like I understand if you guys want to keep going, but like I have to bow out. This shit's getting too crazy.
Yeah, no, fuck that. I watched way too many like ghost hunting shit where like you have to tell them you cannot follow me home, right? Like stuff like that. Have you seen that?
Yeah, no, like we're all into that. I
Yeah.
went to the, did you know Zach Bacon?
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, have you been to the museum?
I was just gonna say, dude, me and my
Oh,
buddy.
hold on. Let me grab my charger real quick.
No, you're all good.
All right.
Yeah, me and my buddy went to the museum, and like we paid extra for like the RIP, like the VIP, like part of the tour.
Yeah.
And so that like granted us like access to like the basement where like they
Oh,
where they like
you went to
allegedly like
that?
yeah they like allegedly like murder like women and children down in the basement.
Yeah.
And I thought it was strange because like the like tour guide was like, yeah, like you guys paid like whatever like extra money to go down to the basement, but you guys had to go down there alone. Like we're not going down there with you. And I'm like, what? Like, is it that bad? And they're like, yeah, it's pretty creepy down there. So we're gonna pause the tour here. Oh shit, the ghosts.
No, that's not.
But the tour was like, yo, like we're gonna pause the tour here so you and your friend, because like me and my buddy were like the only ones that like paid extra for like the RIP. So
Yeah.
they're like, we're gonna pause the tour here and we're gonna wait for you guys to go down to the basement and have your experience. And it honestly, it was pretty creepy. Like, are you familiar with what like a spirit box is?
Yeah, yeah.
So we like walk down the stairs and like this very like narrow like corridor, and then it like opens up to this room where I guess they had like all the seances and where they like murdered like the women and children, but they had a spirit box in the center like playing like before we even got down there.
Yeah.
And me and my buddy, like we go down there, we're like circling the table, just kind of like looking around, not really trying to like call out to anything, but then like the spirit box like starts like speaking. It said like hello. And I'm just like, oh shit, like this is crazy, because I'm like, I don't know who that is on the other side saying hello, but we're down here where they allegedly like murdered like women and children. I'm like, dude, like we should probably get out of here.
Yeah.
And like he's like, all right, like let's go. So like I'm like the first one out, because like it's like I said, it was like a narrow hallway in, and it's the same one to get out. So we kind of circled the table, it said hello, and we got kind of freaked out, so we started to leave. And like we're probably like halfway down the hallway about to hit the stairs, and we can still hear the spirit box. And another voice came through the spirit box and said goodbye. And we're like,
That's
yeah,
wild.
that shit was crazy.
Did you get to see that doll?
I did, but I didn't look at it because hearing stuff about people getting cancer and dying on the car crash on the way home after seeing the doll, I was just like covering my eyes.
I don't blame you, man.
Yeah, I didn't want to take any kind of chances, because because you like, what if you were being respectful and then the doll took it as disrespect, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna kill that guy or do something crazy. So it's like, I don't want to deal with this. So I just I didn't do anything like that.
That's wild, man.
Wait,
Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to look at it either. It's been on my to-do list, but I have not gone yet. I told myself I was gonna go 2025, so
no, if you're a fan, if you're familiar with that, I think it's like definitely worth the money that we paid.
okay. I don't know if I'll do the RIP though. I don't know. I've seen videos of that shit, of that basement.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, but before they opened the museum, they filmed like a season of like, oh hey, we're opening up this museum, and there was a whole segment on them going down to the basement and them getting crazy shit happening down there in the basement. You should check
Oh
it out.
damn, no, I haven't seen that. Yeah, I'll check that out.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got. Yeah, that's something definitely I gotta check out.
Okay. Play a show, or no, because we went like midday and it was still creepy as hell. We went like around like 1 or 2 p.m. and it was still
How did
creepy.
you went? Well, what time did they close?
I'm not sure what time they close, but like we went like pretty early because like we were early, like we did it on our like last day in Vegas. I did it during the pandemic.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so there was like nobody there.
Shit, that's even scarier.
I don't know. I don't think the ghost guy can get COVID, right?
No, not because of COVID, but just because like there's not people in there.
Yeah, it was just creepy in general because like with like the RIP tour too, like they so like I felt like I paid for it to mainly just go down to the basement, but there's like this one room where like, oh yeah, like you get access to the secret passage to get to the next room, and they fucking had us get on like our fucking hands and knees to crawl through this little narrow passage to get to the next room. I was like, what am I doing? This is
No,
weird.
hell.
But yeah, there's a lot of creepy stuff in there. Most of it I was just kind of like, this is kind of like whatever.
Yeah.
But there was some stuff that I'd recognized from like the TV show. I was like, I do not want to touch that because they had like this like Dybbuk box and like this crazy devil's like rocking chair, and I was like, this is
Oh, I seen that too. Yeah.
yeah.
I saw one documentary with Zach where like he fucks up his vision, so he has to wear those prism glasses.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like I forgot what they called it, but it was like a staircase. It was I think it was called like Devil's House or something like that. But they took the staircase to Vegas and they have it there.
Yeah, they had a lot of weird shit in there. So
Yeah. That's wild.
but okay. Linwood 2025.
Yeah.
This has been awesome. I didn't think we would get here talking about crazy ghost stories, but
Hey, I love it. I love it.
I really appreciate your time. Like I said, I really enjoy what you guys are doing with Jackknife. So I'm looking forward to hearing more new music from you guys, hopefully before the end of the year. But before we sign off, is there anything else you would like to say?
Oh man, I always want to give shout outs, but I always fucking blank out on them. But yeah, I don't even want to I don't even want to try to attempt it this time. Last time I tried to give a shout out, it was like 3 bands total, and I was like, damn, I'm drawing a blank. But yeah, man. No, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you for having me on as well. And I appreciate the fact that, you're even putting a spotlight on Linwood is like it's pretty cool, So I appreciate that 100%. And hopefully I get to see you at another show, man.
Yeah, I'll be at the next one. I'll film you guys again. That was fun getting to film you guys live.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Did you post that by the way?
I did.
Oh yeah, you did. Okay, yeah. I remember reposting that. Yeah. I now I remember.
It's okay. It's been a couple months, so
It has. Was that the beginning of 2025? Or at the end of 2024?
I was just looking at the flyer. Let's see, where was that? When was that? It was like end of 2024.
It was, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I don't know why that feels like so long ago already.
But yeah, all right. Well, this has been awesome. Really appreciate your time. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We'll be back soon. Goodbye.
Oh yeah, peace out.